Ever notice how kids, I mean, they can spend like hours totally zoned in on ants,
Yeah.
just marching across the sidewalk.
It's like their little brains are hardwired for that kind of observation, you know?
Totally. And turns out, harnessing that natural curiosity, it's like the foundation for some pretty amazing learning.
Yeah.
So today, we're diving into the world of at-home science projects. We've got some excerpts here, and honestly, whether you're a parent, a future science fair champ, or just someone who, loves to geek out on cool ideas, this one's for you.
What I find fascinating about this particular source is the emphasis on really guiding kids to become these like mini scientists.
Yeah.
It's not just about recreating an experiment from a textbook.
Right. It's about empowering them to ask their own questions. And I love how the source reminds us, it's not about the perfect volcano.
Although I gotta say, those are still pretty awesome.
Oh, for sure. But it's really about building those critical thinking skills early on.
Absolutely. The source really hammers home the idea that those skills, critical thinking, problem solving, even how to effectively present an idea,
Yeah.
they're valuable way beyond just a science fair project.
100%. So the source throws out a bunch of project ideas. We're talking everything from testing how different liquids affect plant growth, which, come on, who doesn't have a house plant these days,
Right.
to designing the ultimate paper airplane.
hmm
Though personally, the one that really caught my eye was this idea of, get this, harnessing the power of the sun to build a solar oven. What is it about these examples that you think makes them stand out?
Well, for one, they're relatable, right? These are things kids see in their everyday lives, which I think automatically makes them more curious. But more importantly, each project has all these different variation the kids can try. So let's say a kid's designing an airplane. They can tweak the design, make the wings a little different. And through that process, they're not just building a plane, they're collecting data, they're analyzing what works, what doesn't. And ultimately, they're learning to tell a story with their findings.
Ooh, I love that point about storytelling. Because the source talks about going way beyond the classic poster board presentation. Imagine instead of just bullet points, you've got this kid excitedly showing off photos of their prize-winning plant experiment or videos of their airplane, soaring across the yard.
Exactly. It's about making those findings relatable and exciting. But remember, behind that really cool presentation, there's a foundation built on, the scientific method. So without even realizing it, these kids are asking questions, they're forming hypotheses, testing them out, and then drawing conclusions.
And probably learning a lot about patience and resilience along the way. Because let's be real, not every experiment goes as planned.
Oh, for sure. But those hiccups, those are learning opportunities too, right? And when you think about it, these projects, even though they seem kind of simple on the surface, they're nurturing this really amazing way of looking at the world. And it's a way of thinking that goes way beyond textbooks. It's about asking questions, testing, analyzing. And honestly, those skills, those are valuable no matter what you do in life.
So it's not just about the science then, really. It's about equipping young minds with these tools for critical thinking, for problem solving, even persuasion. Those are skills needed in every field.
Precisely. And in a world that's just like overflowing with information these days, having that kind of foundation, that's more valuable than ever.
So if our listeners were to take away just one thing from this deep dive, what would you say it should be?
For me, it's this. This source is such a great reminder that learning doesn't have to be confined to a classroom. It can be sparked by encouraging that natural curiosity that kids have and giving them a space for exploration, right at home.
I love that. And for our listeners out there, maybe this sparks a question. What simple experiment from your own childhood could you revisit today, but with this, fresh new perspective?